Okay, perfect. Welcome everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good? So just because of the heat, we're going to have to slow the pace down a little less breathing so it doesn't get as hot. Drink lots of water, wine. Oh yes, and of course beer. So welcome everybody to today's event. Today it is session 16 or Pitchit event 34. So we had our pitch event number 33 on Wednesday. No, today's today, Thursday was Tuesday at York. And I'll make the same comment that every time we have an event, it just seems to keep getting bigger. And the number keeps rising. So we're pretty excited about that. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. Please enjoy yourself. Please follow us, link to us, share, tweet, all that good stuff. We love the social aspect of it because it always drives more attention and people to come in and see what you guys are doing. And we're all about the startup community, so please share away. I just posted some stuff on Instagram. I have no idea if you can find it, but look for it. It's out there. All right, so now we're all together. One of the things I like to do to get the energy up, because it's not hot enough, and I did say we were going to slow it down, but I was only kidding. So one of the things that we like to get things going with, which is all about networking, communicating, and getting to know each other quicker, faster, is a little story. I should make a new story up around it, but the real story was I was at a meeting, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. I went into the room as I normally do, and as I started walking through, I started to high-five the people in the room. And it was because I was that excited to be in that meeting. And some of the people looked at me, and one person turned and said, "That's not very professional." So I turned and I high-fived them. And we had the best meeting ever. So the whole thing is the power of the high five. So everybody around you high-five each other, because you know what? This is why we're all here today, and we're enjoying ourselves. And if you don't know each other, now you do. It's the high five. And if somebody doesn't high-five you, make sure you high-five them anyways. So, see, everybody's happy now. This is good. All right, we're done. We all came here to enjoy ourselves. So, one of the things that, as we continue to grow and do lots of different things at the event, one of the things that we wanted to throw in today was try to do something a little bit different, and we wanted to create a theme. So today's theme is determination. And what does that mean? It means never give up. And we have this great little video that I found the other day, Tuesday, on Instagram, that I'm going to play for you guys because it is probably the best setup ever for determination. Ah, the feed, it's so slow. I can see this very well. I should have tested it. I should have used it as my own laptop. I always, well, this isn't very good.
Can you escape and get control of that other screen?
There we go.
Throw it up there.
Sorry, guys. Bear with me for a second. All right, here we go. Bam! So the reason why I played that is because throughout all the things that we do in Startup Land, the thing that was kind of big for me was that every time we do something, we always have a fault point where we decide that we got to jump off and we can't do it anymore. And that comes down to financial, it comes down to support, it could be anything. And the reason why I showed that is because if you guys watched FIFA World Cup, you probably would have seen Neymar. Not that I'm naming names, he's not going to come after me. He would have fallen, maybe rolled all the way back to Brazil or whatnot, and complained and cried, but he didn't go through with it because of whatever the reason was. The determination wasn't there. I need the perfect play. In this case, she went all the way, and she didn't care that she got tripped. She scored the goal. So I think the whole point of where I'm getting at with you guys is that you got to look at the end goal and go after it. There's a point where you may decide that you don't need to go that way anymore. You shift, you make changes, but at the end of the day, it's a determination and drive that gets you somewhere. So don't let little obstacles, big obstacles get in your way. You're a startup, and shit, this is what you're here for. You're living for it, so keep pushing all the way through, and good luck with that. And this just happens to be a picture. I climbed a mountain last year. I've climbed a bunch. I'm a big fan. So I thought I would show my own little determination here, which was ice climbed in Bolivia, and it was 6,300 meters above sea level. And we peaked at about 5:30 in the morning, and it was something I hadn't done before, which is walk on the edge of a mountain, which was about a half a foot in width for about 10 meters, and it dropped about 35 meters on each side straight down off a cliff. And I was tethered with 2 people in front of me, and as I got up on there, and it was windy, snowing, and everything else, and buddy, they're just running along like, oh my God, and I was like, wait man, this is my first time, slow down. Because normally it's a little bit more rockier and you climb up and touch the peak. So this was kind of fascinating for me. And then I ran them back down after because I got to do it once. So regardless, determination helps you get where you need to be. So don't give up. So today, OPN, what are we here for? Well, we're here for you guys. We created a community to help support startups. And at OPN, the whole thing for us is that we want to help you spend more time growing your business and less time looking for money. So we try to work hard to get you guys the right experience and people in front of you, the advisors that are going to give you feedback so that you guys can grow and be ready for that next angel pitch. We have run in total with all of the different events that we have. This is our 48th event. We've combined about a year ago with Frank and Angelo, and we'll talk about that, but came in with their Up series and a lot of things that they do in the community, and with that has allowed us to help grow inside of the GTA and surrounding areas with OPN and all of the great things that we do to help support the startup community. Here's some of the companies. I think we're close to 130 companies that have pitched. We've probably seen about 500 of those companies come in and pitch over the years, if not more. And we always look forward to seeing more and learning more about what you guys can do and figure out how we can help you. And there's always lots of great businesses inside of there. So OPN by the minute, some of the things that are coming up. Is anybody familiar with Fireside? Anybody going to Fireside? So we've been going to Fireside for 4 years. This is the 4th year that Fireside will be on. And last year we did run Pitchit there, so we had Pitchit Fireside. And we continue to work and grow with them because we're big fans of what they're doing. So if any business or startup has an interest to go to Fireside, it is on September 6 to 9. And we subsidize the cost to help you guys go there because we believe in the community that they're building and we're all part of the same community. So if you guys have an interest in going, send us an email to info@opn.ninja because we'd obviously love to have you guys come and support the big environment. They have about 400 people going to the event. Speakers from all over the world come in and talk. So it's pretty exciting and a lot of good networking and people to meet. And you get to stay in a log cabin. So that's pretty cool, right? Bunk beds. We have the Up Series talk on September 19th in Whitby, so you guys come out and check that out. You can find the details on OPN. We have Pitchit York on October 9th, and then all the way through we have Social Media Day, which we're going to talk about, and Lake Ridge on November 7th. So we have lots of events coming up that we look forward to sharing and seeing you guys at. As I mentioned the details, some little things on Fireside. It'll be a workshop in the morning on a 30-second pitch, and then you will pitch at lunch, and then we'll have a pitch showdown so that you can win tickets to next year. Social Media Day at the GTA in 2018 is going to be on October 3rd, so it'll be another great place to network. So we wouldn't be here today if we didn't look at all the people, you guys of course, but our sponsors that have helped us throughout the time. First will be Alfred from Miller Thompson, who's sitting right there. Thank you, Alfred. Anything with your legal aspects, they got it. We have Barskin & Parr, which is an IP legal firm. They help with all the IP with our startups and businesses, so it's a great setup as well that came in. And about 4 or 5 months ago, we became part of the Toronto sponsorship side of things. So we're one of a couple of businesses that the City of Toronto sponsors. So that's Toronto and StartupHERE, so that's pretty exciting. We have Flow Water, which is the water company who has been with us since day one, so they're pretty exciting. Clear Vision, which is a marketing and strategy business. The Lodge, of course, here, where the space is that we all get to hang out at. They're the best. And Symbol, who is somewhere in here, who've helped us along the way. So I can see you. I know I can. And Blockchain Fortress works in the blockchain system as well. So thank you very much, guys, for all your sponsor and your help over the years. So quickly, I guess I probably didn't introduce myself. So my name's Jeffrey Potvin, and I'm the CEO and founder of OPN. And it just made me realize that I also forgot one of the other sponsors, which happens to be Harboot, my software company. So I tend to forget that, and I'm just hearing Laura yelling at me now, so I'm feeling good now. I got it out. So yeah, super good at promoting myself. Anyways, so my two business partners, Angelo and Frank. Frank was working the bar. Angelo was working the advisor group, and the two of them are both consecutive year Angel of the Year investors. So that's pretty exciting. And they are, well, they're great business partners, and they are full-time in the angel world, helping groom and work with startups. So if anything, make sure you tackle them on the way out today. And the rest of the team, which is Laura, she's floating around here somewhere. She helps and manages a lot of this. I'm sure a lot of you have talked with her over the years, which is awesome. Katrina, who's on holidays, she runs the marketing. And Brian, who is the film guy right there that takes care of everything. He says he likes hugs on the way out. So, some of the things that we've added on over the years at OPN, one of them being we have the Supporters Fund, where we've invested into startups to help them. To date, we've invested in 7 companies since November. And we've also created an Xcelerator where we have 6 companies in, and we are looking for 3 more companies in October. If you have an interest, feel free to send an email to info@opn.ninja, and we will work to get in to see you. If you're interested in investing or being part of the OPN Xcelerator program, send that email. I say investing because we get a lot of questions all the time from startups, people that want to invest, and if that's you, then feel free to reach out. One of the new things that we're going to add in, we do everything in short spurts, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, those types of time frames. So if you are looking to learn how and pitch, and you want to get in front of a stage of people like everybody in here, and you've got a really amazing topic that you want to talk about, create a video, send it to us at info@opn. And as we go forward in our next events, we're going to pick one of those videos to come in, talk, and you guys will be able to come up and practice your pitch, because I think we get a lot of people wanting to learn how to pitch or get in front of an audience to pitch so that they can speak at events, and everybody needs some practice. So if there's an interest, create that 3-minute video and send it in. Make it a good topic, and we'll see if we can get you into our next event. Hopefully everybody dropped their business card off. We're going to do a round of t-shirts because it's my best 11, and why not? Everybody likes something when it's a good t-shirt. All right, we're moving forward quickly. So the pitch format, the way it works, for people that are new, it's 3 companies that are pitching. They have 11 minutes to pitch, which we're trying to move that needle down to 9 minutes to get more impactful information in 9 minutes. And inside of that, they will then get 1 minute from each advisor that will give them a breakdown of details of what they think they can improve on. And then there'll be 5 minutes of Q&A from you guys. So think of your questions, because we love good questions, because the community is what helps them grow and builds their business. And of course, try the products and download the products, whatever that might be, because all the support helps. Today's advisors, on my, Santiago in the middle. Santiago is an angel investor from York. He does also works as a consultant. He does lots of great work. Smart gentleman. He's someone you want to talk to, so we're looking forward to his hard-hitting comments. And I know he's good because I hear him feedback all the time, so it's very good. You guys are in for it. Angelo Del Duca, as I mentioned, business partner, York Angel of the Year in 2016? 17. And he's bought and sold companies over the years, and he's got a huge background in engineering, and he can help the same. He's got some good feedback. Galen, York Angel, he also has a couple of businesses, and smart man. He's got good stuff too, so we only bring up all of the brilliant people apparently in the room. So everybody else should all move up forward, because I think everybody's got a lot to offer today, so we're excited to get this going. So, who's pitching? We have 3 companies, Selby, Magic Button, and Partake. First company up, Selby.
I'm going to start while you do that.
Here's the...
I need the mic, yeah? Where? Right there. There we are. Okay, I'm Dave from Selby, but first, I have a story. I am a serious beer drinker. I've been a serious beer drinker for a long time, probably most of my life. About 25 years ago, I stopped buying beer at the beer store. I started buying it at the LCBO. And over the years, like most serious beer drinkers, I started to think, you know, I could do with just as much beer and a little bit less alcohol. And I went looking, and I kissed a lot of beer frogs. There's a lot of bad de-alcoholized beer out there. So I was kind of despairing, but then I found Ted's other company called Premium Near Beer. And he imports and distributes all kinds of near beer. And I tried a bunch, and there were a couple that weren't bad in there. And then the next thing Ted did, and he's going to pitch later, is he came out with Partake that he brews himself. This is good near beer. This is good craft, not de-alcoholized, low alcohol, no alcohol beer. And as a serious beer drinker, I recommend you do it, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Ted talk later, because this is a great product. Okay, I'm burning my minutes.
You're 11 minutes.
So I am still Dave from Selby, and I am looking for $250,000 on a valuation of $2.75 million, approximately. All right?
You're on.
I'm trying to go. There we go. This is Sarah. Sarah just dropped another phone in the toilet. That's Sarah's mom. Sarah's mom is thinking how good it's going to be to spend another hour with the Bell guys talking about this is what happened and I really need a cheap phone, and they're going to say we're not into cheap phones, you know, it's just not a great thing for us. She's not really looking forward to this. This is Hillary. Hillary's got her nice iPhone 6S there that she's kept in great shape over the years because she really likes phones. She's got her heart set on an iPhone 10. She really wants to get it. She's really, really close to being able to afford it. If she could get a good price for that iPhone 6S that she's babied over the years, she could afford that phone. Rogers had a terrible, terrible trade-in price. Really a little bit insulting. She's not quite there. This is Amy and Jamal. These guys are the IT people at a medium-sized Toronto business. They're sitting here looking a little puzzled because they're trying to figure out what to do with the 100 or so phones they've got sitting in a cupboard in their IT room. Because when people give their old ones back, they're not sure what to do with them. And I can tell you, there's a lot of Amy's and Jamals around Toronto. So what do these 3 groups of people have in common? There's really no visible secondary market and no good secondary market for cell phones, for smartphones. A big reason for that, we've dug into this over the years, the reason for that is there's no trust. So let me describe why we say there's no trust. This is going to be a bit of an eye test now. a guy walks into a cell phone store, and this is not a joke, and he asks, how much will you give me for my used phone? Now, the way these things work is these big chains have a one-to-one relationship with a company who buys the phones. They have no incentive to raise their prices. So they give him the price, and of course he's disappointed, just like everybody else is when they get the price that they're going to get offered at the store. So they don't trust that they're going to get a good price, so they stick the phone in a drawer. How many of you guys have phones in drawers at home? If you don't have your hand up, you're just not telling the truth. The buyers have another problem. Guy walks into the store, they give him a price. He says, cool, I'll take that. Ships the phone, the buyer tests the phone, and what do they find? It isn't the phone we thought it was, or it doesn't work the way you said it worked. Now the buyer's unhappy. They reduce their prices to take that into account. It's a crappy system. How do we fix this? There's two things I want you to look out for here. Okay, so number one is when the store is equipped with Selby, and there are a lot of stores equipped with Selby these days, we connect them to a whole bunch of buyers. And these buyers look for different types of phones. They all want different things. There's some niche buyers or repair stores who want broken phones, so we have great prices on those. We give the stores tools to test the phones with. So when you come into the store and say, I want to trade in my phone, they run the tests on the phone. We know exactly what the phone is. There's no Find My iPhone lock on it. We take it off. There's no Google FRP lock. We find the highest price in our marketplace. All of our buyers have their prices in our system. In real time, we find the highest buyer. The phone gets shipped to that buyer. They say, hey, finally, it's what we thought it should be. They ship the money. Everybody's happy. So simple. The market effect, between 50 and 60% improvement in prices in Canada on used phones, about 250% improvement on broken phones. You might not think this is that big a market. Last year, there were 120 million phones traded in globally, 223 million forecast for 2020. In North America, 55 million in 2020. We're targeting a minor 1 million of those in 2020. That's our goal, is to trade in 1 million of those phones. How do we make money? It's pretty simple. We take a cut of each one. I have a little trouble with my button here. Where's the magic button? Okay, I've mentioned us all. Now we're done. $10 to $12 per transaction, so that translates to $10 million revenue in 2020. The team, how are we going to achieve this? Our business guys have been in the telecom industry forever. They've been in sales, product management, various roles, including executive presidential roles. And on our tech side, we've got many years of experience running large and small development teams and product management teams. How do we go to market? We've segmented enterprise trades, wireless repair shops who have a different motivation for trades, and wireless retail. These are, I know it's an eye test, these are companies we're already working with. There's a lot of big names in there and a lot of names you'll recognize. Between these various, and there are different ways of approaching each of these, so I'm whipping through this, trying to get through in 9 to 11 minutes, but there's a lot of differences between those segments and how we approach them. But we have made good traction with these guys. Our net revenue, so this is not the top dollar of the phones because that's somewhat irrelevant to us. The important part is what do we net, is between 75 and 100,000 per quarter right now. What am I doing wrong? In terms of competition, what I've done here, we've shown single buyer versus a marketplace. And we've got manual assessment of technology in store versus actual point of trade technology that we provide. There are lots of people doing single buyer markets, lots of people doing manual assessment. Nobody's doing both, which is the corner that we live in, so where we combine those two things. The other thing is some of those are things like eBay and Amazon. And if you've ever tried to sell a phone through Kijiji or bought a phone through Kijiji, you spend a lot of time in Tim Hortons and you kiss a lot of frogs. What do we want to do with the money? We got very detailed plans about what we're going to do with the money. And, basically it's split between sales and marketing and product. How am I doing there, Jeffrey? I'm okay? Okay? So, it's just sensitive buttons. So what we're trying to do is change that into that, because we want to make all segments of this market happy. It's time for this to happen. Cell phones have gone up in price dramatically. They're worth a lot of money at the end of the cycle, and it's time for this market to break open and be a free market like most products are. So basically what I want you to take away is Selby's going to put trust into this marketplace. We got a real problem that needs to be solved. We have a cool solution. It's a big market. We got a great team. We've already got significant traction, and we're looking for good partners to join us in doing it. And I think that is that.
Galen, you want to take it away?
We've all made notes. Good pacing on the presentation. I would recommend that you don't start with the ask. It confuses investors right out the gate. We don't know what your business is whatsoever, and you throw a number out. People can just turn themselves off almost immediately from that. As far as the go-to-market, I think you need to spend more time there. You glossed over that. There's a lot of stuff up front that you could probably trim down, spend more time in the go-to-market and how you are going to get to the marketplace, and you definitely need to talk about your traction. You mentioned that you have traction, but we don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. And the last, to me, would be what's your exit strategy? Who are the potential people out there? As an investor, what we want to know is how's our money going to work, and how are we going to get our money back out? And so that exit strategy, at least if you have something in your mind with respect to where you think this could go, that's important for us to get our head wrapped around.
Okay, after such a complete challenge, I'll need to see what I can come up with. So the points that I have basically are related with one, evidence on market fit, because you talk already about traction, but what does that mean? And something that I always look for as an investor is show me the evidence that there's market fit, that you have an MVP for already proven. And I think as well that in terms of besides the evidence on market fit and traction, I think that still will be important to talk a little bit deeper about competition, because the way I saw it is like, you know what, I'm not an expert on the topic, but I can bet that there are some solid players in this territory. So I felt that when you presented, you were trying to kind of bring down and kind of almost transmitting the idea of, no, there's no one really, no competition, or not really one strong, and if there's not, because there might be not, say what could be potentially a type of competition, who could become a competition, and also maybe the last point is, what is your dream? What is your plan? Very quickly to expand. So, are you in Toronto? Then it's Canada. Then it's US. Like, what are the next steps?
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Good presentation.
Thank you.
It would really be helped if next time you get a larger screen. But that's I'm an old guy. I can't see, and
In your way, probably.
and you're in my way.
Try to step back.
No, that's okay. You're slim, so don't worry about that. It's the beer. One thing. Oh, by the way, the starting off with the ask and the. That's what we at the York Angels, by the way, tell them. But I agree. I think leave that till the end. I'm not a strong believer in. Yeah. The key thing that I see, you seem to understand the marketplace. You have a good ability to identify who are the players in there. What I didn't get a sense of is your intellectual property position, and more importantly, how are you going to prevent others that will glean from your success and prevent them from encroaching into your marketplace. So talk about the strategy on how to create that moat, and more importantly, how to fill that moat with sharks so as they come in, they just get gobbled up. On another point, and it was touched on, so you have traction, right? 75 to 100K per quarter. Was I listening? Did I write it down? And I like the your targets of 10 million by 2020, net 10 million. But you didn't describe to me where your existing traction is. Is it a local market? How diversified is that marketplace? And is this a business opportunity that has real appeal in a centralized location, but can it expand beyond? Okay. And you look good, so good job.
Thank you. All right, here you go. All right, who's got questions? Who wants to dive in first? Hands up, come on. Okay, I'm going to ask a question if you don't. So based on your expansion, where are you guys operating mostly right now, and do you see the most traction coming in the business-to-business sector? Is it in the US? Is it in Hong Kong? Where are you getting all this happening?
Okay. So we're currently operating in Canada, the US, and the UK. Most of the transactions we're doing are B2B at the moment, followed by retail. And the B2B is bulk, so we targeted that first, and we have the contacts in those places. What I didn't mention is that our investors are actually our customers. Two of them were CEOs of Canada's major telecom brands, so Rogers and Wind. So yeah, Canada, US, and the UK.
Great, Dave. Really great presentation. I really like what you had to say there.
Thank you.
Back over here. What I'm curious about is how many vendors have you got so far?
How many buyers?
How many vendors? Like so.
Can't hear you, John.
How many vendors? Is that better?
Right. So sellers, it really is what you're asking then. This is probably a number I should have off the top of my head, but I'm doing a swag right now. So we've targeted on the retail side. So I guess the question is, do you want me to try and think about numbers of stores or numbers of customers?
Well, what I'm looking for, because it's centralized, so the number of stores you have is going to be relevant. Everything else expands from that.
Yeah, okay. So I believe at the moment in Canada, we're in about 60 stores. In the US, the number's a little bit less. We're in around 40 stores. And in the UK, we're exclusively in the Samsung corporate stores. So there are 25 of those. And in Get Connected in Wales, sorry, that was an unusual one.
Over what kind of time frame? So when it started to roll out to now?
So we became Selby. We pivoted from a slightly related but not quite the same thing, and it's about 2 years since we started. So I think the first chain we landed was Fixed. I don't know whether you know Fixed, F-I-X-T. Gary Wood used to be the CEO of one of the presidents at Bell, and he started a high-end repair chain, and he had no stores when we started with him, and he's now up to 10. We have all his stores. We did the same thing with Mobile Clinic and with Phone Lab. So that's sort of how it grew. So we won them before they had any stores, and we've grown with them as part of that. So, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think Jeffrey's picking the...
Yeah. So with the tools that you're sending to the stores, like what's the cost there, and then like... Yeah, what's the cost of the tools?
Sure. The tools are free to the stores if they are processing transactions. So the tools are actually basically commodities these days. We integrate with a number of different ones, so it's not really fundamental to our product. We take the test results from those tools, and we can do it via API if it's another vendor's product. So this is what our business was originally. We got the test tools into Bell, Rogers, and TELUS in Canada, and then we integrated with them our trade-in product because we couldn't get the big trade-in companies to do it. We thought it was a great business opportunity. We couldn't get them convinced to do it, so we did it ourselves.
Well, what's the cost per location on board?
To us to onboard a customer, well, it's essentially sweat equity. They're PC-based tools with a 4-port USB hub that plugs into it. So they provide the PCs. They use their point-of-sale terminal, actually. So there's really no cost to us to accept our time. And if you want me to do that, I can do it, but I will need a few minutes.
All right, one last question.
So you mentioned that your cost that you're charging from the customer is $10 to $12 that you're making, right? So how much is the cost of acquisition for that customer and the cost of the tools that you actually give?
Yeah, so we haven't quite worked it out like that, like a CAC calculation and a lifetime value of a customer. We do have those numbers. It's not exactly down to the phone level, right? It's more to acquiring a customer, and then we segment the customers to figure out, how to make some sense of that. Otherwise, the numbers would be too broad. So, because basically, once the system is in store, then we can do a calculation on how many trade-ins can we expect out of a store, out of a retail store. And the number is relatively low, but again, because our costs are low, it's not a problem. It's from that point of view. So basically, our buyers pay that cost. So the buyers have their prices in the system. They're desperate to win phones because where we make $10 on a phone, they make $100 on a phone on average. When they buy a phone to resell, they make, on average, $100. So they want phones. Buyers are easy for us to get. It's the sellers that we need to get. Those guys are king. So basically, they put their prices in, we test the phone, we subtract our fees, and maybe if the retailer wants a fee, we take their fee off it, and then we present that price to the customer. Our net price that goes to the customer is still 50 to 60% better and 250% of the broken price that you would get out of a Rogers or a TELUS or a Bell or any of the big guys. So I'm not sure I completely answered your question. Again, I'd need a longer time to answer it properly.
No, that's perfect. Thank you very much. One thought might be in the LG world or the product world, one of the things that they do and they work on is returns. So with returns, someone has to repair them and they can't sell them back on the shelf. So there's companies out there that'll sell washers and dishwashers. They're not allowed to promote it, but they can build it by grassroots. Maybe you go to Rogers and take all the returns that people have opened up and sent back, and you can turn that into a reseller business from that. I don't know if that exists, but
We'd love to do more.
Awesome. All right, magic button, you guys are up.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Clicker.
I didn't steal it, did I? No, good.
All right, guys, let's hope this works.
Awesome. So, is it working?
Yes.
So we are Magic Button Films, a film production company based here in Toronto. And before we really wanted to jump into it, we wanted to show you our what we've done so far, if it works. Yeah, you can all come a little bit closer, maybe, because on the not so big screen. We gotta put it up here.
Yeah, escape. And just grab the window and drag it the other.
We'll see if we have enough time.
There we go. So this is what we do at Magic Button Films.
Magic Button Films is a Toronto-based production company. We produce short films, commercials, series, and features. My name is Daniel Govaya. I'm a director, producer, and creator with 10 years of industry experience.
My name is Yair Kalberger. I'm a creator, screenwriter, and producer with as well 10 years experience in the industry. We have about a dozen short films under our belt now, 2 features, and a series which we optioned to a major production house here in Toronto. We've only been working for Magic Button Films full-time for the last 5 months.
And as an emerging Toronto company in the business of entertainment, content, development, and production, our timing couldn't be more perfect. As a production company, our timing couldn't be more perfect, but I want to talk to you a little bit about our demo reel. It shows a little bit about our work, our foundation, and tremendous intellectual property that we've acquired so far. Our portfolio of films, series, shorts, scripts, pitch packages, content speaks for itself. Having compelling work is the critical first step, but it's not enough. Real success requires much more. Our business is about conceptualization, development, pitching, financing, and production of entertainment and commercial content. And most importantly, earning revenue and profit from the business through the distribution and the consumer merchandising of our work product, as well as residual revenue from such things as streaming rights and the sales of our licensing of our IP.
So why is it a smart move to invest in Magic Button Films now? Well, the first thing you need to know is that the stars have aligned for Toronto to become a global center of entertainment production content. So there's a couple of reasons for this. It's the combination of our cheaper dollar versus the American, the lower wage rates for on-screen and off-screen talent, the government subsidies and grants that are very generous, and the tax credits, which are very generous as well. So all that combined is making Toronto one of the most competitive cities in North America for the film industry.
Absolutely, and the second thing you need to know is that the constraints on capitalizing on this opportunity has been a lack of quality production facilities and studios. This is now in the process of being remedied with significant expansion of Toronto's production capacity now underway. Our industry has grown almost $3 billion annually in Toronto in the past 10 years. With this expanded capacity, it's projected that the entertainment content production in Toronto will surpass $7 billion in just 3 years, more than double where we sit today. Market demand coupled with production capacity translate into a huge business opportunity for us.
So the third thing you need to know is that Magic Button Films is perfectly positioned to take advantage of that opportunity. What's happening now is the expansion that is coming. We have 2 sorts of competitors out there. On one side, we have the big legacy companies who lack the ability to scale and expand with the flow that's happening right now. And on the other side, we have the small emerging companies who still make cool products, but they don't have the corporate management in place to bring a company to profitability. Where Magic Button Films comes in is we fall in that nice little sweet spot in the middle where we have the corporate setup to bring it to profitability, but also still can be agile and flexible to scale with the emerging market. Now, the fourth thing you need to know is that we are a young and innovative team, each with our own skill sets and resources, which allows us to pull together and have access to star talent such as directors, actors, writers, other producers. Pair that with our mentors and advisors and their industry contacts, the sky's the limit, really, for us. We approach this as a business, the way our American neighbors have perfected it, a business for profit. A business where we are held accountable to our stakeholders, where we are building long-term shareholder value and building a development and production machine that is focused on creating productions on budget and on time.
Yep. And the fifth and last thing you need to know is that Magic Button Films is not going to be another production company that, in order to succeed, is focused only on simply burning investor cash on the occasional big-term, long-term bet, the dream of its first multi-million-dollar box office smash, or a Hail Mary pass that wins an Academy Award. In addition to earning fees from producing feature films and TV or internet series that takes time to develop, market, and finance, we have a commercial production division, Method and Madness. Our commercial division is equally capable of capitalizing on this huge Toronto production advantage we mentioned earlier. What it adds is the stability and durability of Magic Button Films is the ability to earn near-term pay for short-term plays from the marketing of products and services. Let us show you a sample of our commercial work.
If it works. Want to skip it? Yeah.
Okay.
Skip it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it didn't work, but
unfortunately, it's not working. But we'll just move on. I'd like to introduce you to the Method and Madness team. And I'll also like to introduce you to Ian Smith, our commercial producer. His background is in post-production and has many skill sets. He's a videographer, editor, colorist, graphic designer, and visual effects artist. Ian and I have worked on various commercials and music videos. Having a post-production in-house will help reduce cost and labor.
So moving to our revenue projections, mainly for the first year, it'll be focused on our commercial division because that's what pays the bills in the beginning. As we scale up our features and our series, and as you can see, by the second year, hopefully we would have a series in play and maybe a couple features after that to really scale it upward. Now, the deal is simple. We are raising $1 million for the company. We already have $375,000 committed by investors and 125 soft circle. We are planning to close our first tranche of $500,000 this month and the second tranche of $500,000 next month. We feel like we're honest and realistic with our investors by having a pre-money valuation of $500,000, and our exit strategy is to either become the next Warner Brothers or to sell to Warner Brothers in the next 5 to 10 years.
We are Magic Button Films. Yes, we make movies, but we do so much more. If you want to know more about the many projects we're working on, our business model and projections, or use of proceeds, or if you just want to become a part of this exciting Toronto adventure, let us know.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good job, man. Good job. Angela, you want to start?
I can start, but before I start, I didn't want to interrupt you.
So sorry about the technical difficulties.
No problem. And that's all I have to say. No.
All right, you got a minute.
Okay, I have a minute. I have 4 points. The first one, I've been involved in this area with some very successful companies in the downtown Toronto area. that have grown from 8 to over 500. And that meteoric growth imploded almost overnight. So the key to this is not creating the hype and getting the large feature films. It's being able to manage the growth. And I think that your pitch really needs to emphasize that. And that way you can differentiate yourself from all of the ones that tried and failed and why you will succeed. I like the concept that you are focused on profitability, yet have agility. And I think that should be your tagline in your pitch, okay? It wasn't clear to me how Method of Madness fit into the whole structure, and also how it rolled into the ask in terms of the investment. Is my investment going to include both entities? One entity, you need to identify that. And I was a little bit confused. You said the ask was $1 million, but the pre-money valuation was $500K?
Yeah. Excluding investment.
Excluding investment. So what equity am I getting for my $1 million? How will I see a return? And to what degree will my return be?
Okay, thank you. Go. You want to go?
Okay, congratulations. It's not easy to be there, and it's not easy when the technology doesn't cooperate. So I think that you guys managed the situation well. A couple of points. I think that I know you guys want to show the quality of the work you do, and it's important, but I think that is too long. The video is too long. You guys have 11 minutes, ideally 9, so the video took just too long. And I think that in just half of that time, we can get an idea of the quality of the work. And there are some points that were left behind that could have been approached if the video wasn't that long. So for example, I still don't get really clearly, and again, I'm not necessarily familiar with very familiarized with this industry, but I didn't get like what is the true problem, what is the problem. And I also, when I still don't see what you guys do 10 times better than any competitor for me to say, yeah, you know what, it's so clear that what these guys do is 10 times much better. The solution that they bring in, that they're proposing, is 10 times better that I'm going to invest. I didn't see that part. So, and that goes with a point of difference. So when you guys were talking about what differentiates you to the competition, part of what you guys said is the exec team. And that can be easily replicable. So maybe you guys have a better idea, but need to portray it in a way that I can really see a strong point of difference. Just minor couple of things.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Don't read. Be careful with reading from the phone. I don't think that gives a good impression and distracts the audience. So I was kind of looking at you reading, but not really paying too much attention. So you'll need to master your presentation. Okay?
Thank you.
And I'll follow on that same note, is that it might be the first time you've presented, I'm not sure, but you need to move away from the phone where you're kind of running through a dialogue but not telling a story. And so any message that you were going through really gets lost because you're just sort of spewing out a lot of that information. So you guys are storytellers. You've got to get a story down and be able to wow us with the magic of what it is that you do. How are you different? You talk about the movie industry, but you don't talk about what makes you different. How is it that you're going to capitalize on this better than anybody else is going to? So that really has to come out, and your video to me is like a product demo, so that's better to have toward the end. leave us with that wow factor about what it is you do, how it is different. So as opposed to leading with it, bring it into it in a different place within the presentation. So we walk away with this great memory of what work you actually do. If you were a product, you wouldn't demo the product right up front and then start talking about it. You want to talk about the market, what you do, then a demo of the product. So we now believe that you can do what it is you do. The other is that you talked about the fact of your competition and then how you were different from the startups, but in essence, I got the same sense that you were like the startups. So again, that business model of how is it that you're mature? How is it that you bring more maturity than those startups do? That needs to come out, and again, part of that is that storytelling about what it is that you do.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, who has questions? All right, over here, one sec, sir. I got you.
Yes, you talk about intellectual property. Have you actually got any revenue coming in yet at this point? And you talk about market capitalization of $1 million. What exactly do you plan to do with that $1 million?
The revenue that we have gotten in has been minimal, just from some short films we've sold.
How much?
About like around 10,000. We did just sell a feature, but the revenue from that, with the deal with the distributor, we won't be seeing for at least a few years, unfortunately, because that's how it works with films. With the $1 million for investment, what we'll be doing is mainly working overhead and setting up the commercial division, which you saw, just as a separate entity. Getting geared so that we can put everything in-house, but mainly the majority will be going to working overhead. Yeah, working capital, yeah.
Sorry, it's so hot in here, buddy. All right, who else got a question? Question. Oh, sorry.
So you guys talk about resources and assets you guys have at feature length for film, commercials, and short stories. I'm just wondering what was missing is what will be the focus and the direction of the Magic Button?
The direction of the company?
Yeah.
So we plan to expand and build a roster of, a series and features with our, with the network that we have that we're building, and hopefully, ultimately to become, one of the major groundbreaking studios in Toronto and, LA based as well, which we're planning as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next question.
I appreciate the presentation. I'm curious about, if I can ask, so you've been in business for 5 months now, or has it been longer than that?
It has been longer than that.
Okay.
We incorporated the business in 2015. That's when Daniel and I joined, but together we have about 20 years experience in the industry.
Okay, so what I'm curious about is with 10,000 revenue, how are you supporting the business? How's the business staying?
So we already have a small chunk of the investment committed right now, so.
Okay,
yeah.
But what I'm wondering about is so what's generating the revenue?
Commercial work right now.
Right, but the commercial work, from what you're saying over the last, since 2015, is relatively insignificant, or am I misunderstanding?
So basically what we've been doing then is basically working for, credit work to get exposure out there for us, so that people become more synonymous with our name, really.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Good job. All right, how many of you guys are startups? Entrepreneurs? Shouldn't all you have your hand up? Aren't you all entrepreneurs? Startups? How many of you, if you had 30 seconds to come up in front of the room to pitch your brand and your business, would be interested? So come on up, we'll take the first 6 companies that come up. You got 30 seconds. The way this works is you have to say your name, the name of your company, and what you're all about. All right, we're good. We're locked in. We've got 4 companies. Oh, we've got 5. I like it. Oh, that's good. That's the best way. All right, so you know the rules. You got to say your name. I'm just getting the timer going here. Name your company and what you do. Ready?
Sure. Hey guys, my name is Jack. We founded Kiri Innovation. Question for you. Who here know what a 3D scanner is? Several hands there? Okay, perfect. So at Kiri Innovation, we are developing a low-cost but high-precision 3D scanner for everyone. By using the advanced AI algorithm, we've dropped down the material costs for the manufacturing. So we have the fully functional prototype, and we are looking for friends for commercialize. So come, my name's Jack, Kiri Innovation. Talk to me what you have.
Awesome, thank you. All right, you ready?
Hello, my name is Ralph, and I represent Innovative Nano Coatings, which stops 80% of the heat coming in a window. And I just want to report a success. I've talked to you before. We got our $3.5 million in investment. So success. And I'm always happy to report success. Now, that's the good part. Now, the unfortunate point is that we have a $250 million.
Like positives. What's your name?
Okay, Ralph. We have a 250. Okay,
just positive. Yes, that's it. No, it's good. You got 3.5. Everybody come see you after. All right. You ready?
Hi, I'm Jeremy Lundy. I've started, it's called TechRect Inc. We do test automation services. If you build software and you've had a production bug, we can help you not have another one. And if you haven't had a production bug, you're not in production. So yeah, techrect.com. Come see me after the talks, and thanks a lot. I'm Jeremy Lundy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Philip. I'm a film director, and I founded Against All Odds Pictures, and we are preparing our first feature called Severance Day, which is a heist thriller. We have award-winning actors and Emmy Award and Oscar-nominated head of departments on board already. We have 7 investors in the seeded stage already as well, and we offer equity, production tax returns, and tremendous scaling opportunities as well. And my name is Philip. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Okay, well, I am Carla, and I am the founder of Artifier.net. And Artifier is a web directory for the visual arts. So basically, you will be able to find all that's happening in the visual arts in your city. And my idea is to make it accessible, make art accessible and fun and engaging for everyone, and create local art communities. Yeah, my name is Carla, and we can talk after this.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Partake, you're up. Okay, let's get ready to rumble. Just hit this. You just got to point it at that. So just one button over. This one.
Okay. All right. You're up.
Hey everybody, my name's Ted Fleming. I'm the founder and CEO of Partake Brewing, and I have a bit of a confession to make to all of you. I love craft beer. I love the taste of it. I love the variety. I love the creativity of the craft brewers. I even love the beards, even though I can't grow one. But more than those things, I really love the socializing and connecting that happens over beer. And a lot of us do, and a lot of us take it for granted. And I certainly did up until about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and that was the start of a lot of changes in my life, one of which was I made a decision to give up alcohol. But what's someone to do who loves beer but can't drink alcohol to do? Well, I tried non-alcoholic beer. But pretty much everything I tried tasted awful. There was absolutely nothing in terms of variety. So I decided I wanted to change that. And I'm not just changing it for me. There are a lot of other people out there with health or medical conditions, love the taste of a great beer but can't drink the alcohol, pregnant women, religious abstainers, top-notch athletes. We saw a lot of articles at the last Winter Olympics. The whole German Olympic team is high on non-alcoholic beer. That's why they won all those medals. And then there's social and situational drinkers, people who see a time and a place for a great alcoholic beer and a time and a place for a great non-alcoholic beer. So why is now the time to be in the non-alcoholic beer market? Well, there's been impressive growth globally over the last couple of years. It's a $1 billion market in North America, $6 billion globally. But really, most of that growth has happened in Europe. For instance, Spain, 10% of their overall beer market is non-alcoholic. In Germany, it's 5%. But in the US and Canada, we're struggling at just about 1%. 1% of a $130 billion market. And the big reason for that is there hasn't been the quality of product or the variety of product that there has been in Europe. And that's what Partake Brewing's here to change. We launched our first product last year. It was an IPA. It's made with all natural ingredients, and it comes in at an incredibly low 10 calories per can. We've already won several awards for our beers. This slide's already out of date. We were just informed this morning that we won World's Best Non-Alcoholic Beer for our Pale Ale. All right. So we have the two products in market, the IPA and Pale Ale. We have the lager coming out in a few months, red ale, and a stout in development as well. So how does Partake stack up against the competition? Well, I think based on all the awards, and you're able to taste it here tonight, our taste is fantastic. Our price is higher than our competitors. We're commanding about a 20 to 25% price premium over the macro brands of non-alcoholic beer. And that's consistent with the premium that craft beer gets in the alcoholic market. In terms of traction, we've had great traction in less than a year. We're in the beer store. We launch in the LCBO next week with our Pale Ale. We're in Whole Foods in BC, Save On Foods, Sobeys, and we have our own online channel, premiumnearbeer.com. In the first 12 months, we've done $500,000 in sales. We're looking at $2.5 million in the coming 12 months. And then 13 to 24 months out, we think 10 million is an attainable number with entry into the US market in a meaningful way and international licensing. We do own the proprietary rights to our recipes and our brewing method. 25 to 36 months out, we think 20 million is an attainable target. We're raising $500,000 with a $3 million valuation right now. We're going to use that money to increase our production and inventory, lower our production costs, engage a distributor so we can get out to a lot more points of retail, especially in the grocery, health food, and convenience channels. We want to execute on a case study in the US market before we enter there in a larger way. We need to build a team out. I'm a sole founder. We use a lot of contractors and advisors at this point, but we need to develop our own internal resources. So 60% of the funds is going to go towards sales and marketing growth, and 40% to bring on the best people we can to build the business. We'd like to partner with a strategic investor in the 2020 to 2022 time horizon. Again, I'm a single founder, and we have a great R&D team. We do some of our R&D work in Durham College, and we have some great people who used to be at Mill Street, Labatt's, Molson, and we have a very talented advisory board as well. In terms of a potential strategic partner, there are quite a few out there for us. Because we're in the non-alcoholic space, we would potentially appeal to a Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Red Bull. Of course, on the alcohol side, AB InBev seems to buy every craft brewer they can get their hands on. And Nestle might be another one that's sort of not specifically in the beverage space, but someone who we could see potentially partnering with. So, again, looking for $500,000 with a $3 million valuation. And before you guys get to ask your questions, my presentation ends, but I get to say, who's ready to partake?
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. All right, guys, you got a minute. Let's see what you got.
Okay, so congratulations. Again, I think that is a very well done. Again, only with the intention of positive feedback. I mean, with a positive intent. A couple of things. When it comes to to the business itself, it is important to talk about margins. Like, it's great to understand what is the level of revenue that you're getting and kind of projections, but in the end, it's about the bottom line. And in the CPG business, margins and understanding margins is absolutely key. So that's important. Also, even if you clearly show the opportunity in North America, because from a kind of a share perspective is still low, what is happening with the non-alcohol beer? It's growing. So Budweiser launched a couple of years ago. It'll be interesting to even mention that, because I would be interested in understanding what is going on there. And I know I did a little bit of research, and I know you were on Dragon's Den. So any investor will ask you, okay, so what is going on? Why didn't you bring it up? Did you make a deal? You know what I mean? It's an obvious point that will come up, so better that you bring it up versus someone else's. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Congratulations. One thing, I'm not much of a drinker, but I have partaken in near beer many years ago. And there's a psychological effect in drinking near beer. One colleague of mine said, I've had 10 of these near beers right now, and I'm completely blasted out of my mind. Because psychologically, he would have been blasted out of his mind. So there is this effect, not only of, if you can make a good near beer, I think there is a large market opportunity. Such as myself, who's not a drinker, this could appeal to me, especially the low calorie intake. What about sugar? And look at those aspects of it, right? The nutritional aspects. I like your definition of the use of funds, focus specifically on the growth and not on more product development. And I also like the fact that you've identified who are the key takeout players in the business. So lots of good stuff. I can't find that many holes. I agree with Santiago on the Dragon's Den, although 1 in 100 ever go anywhere. It's more of theater than investment, right? So great stuff. I think the best thing is doing what you're doing, generate revenues.
Ted, that was an excellent presentation. Congratulations on your success so far, and wish you lots of success in the future. I'd say that a couple of things from my perspective. Great that you've got a good moat there, that you've got protection on the licensing. Those are things that nobody's going to be able to come after you on, so I think that those are always great things to have. I think that from a traction perspective, looks really good. I'd like to see a little more on the competition, because obviously there are, if this is a space that you're saying is very young, there will be other people coming in there. So it would be good to see what some of the other major brands are doing and what other ones from Europe might come over here. So if there's a lot of traction in Europe, pretty easy to get some of those products back over into Canada. So we want to keep an eye on who could potentially come in and start eating your lunch out here. From the validate, if you say that there's 1% and the reason for that is there's been no good near beers. If you have some way to validate that, whether it's a market study, if there's somebody behind that can actually show that is a proof point versus, you're just saying that. So I think if you've got just some way to show some market heft behind that kind of thing, as an investor, we're going to say that's great, right, to see that. And then the other is if there are other possibilities for partnerships, so things like the marijuana companies. So they're talking now where Constellation Brands has bought into some of the major players. Are there opportunities here for you to be able to take this and bring it into other parts of the market that could juice us up even further? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, who's your mic? All right, who's got questions? Who's got questions? No, you're out for now. He can come talk to you after. Crowd engagement.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I liked what you did with the precursor by having Dave come up and say a couple of nice words about your product beforehand. So to address the final, it worked well. What I'm curious about is from the manufacturing capacity you have right now. What percentage does it utilize? Like how close are you to 100% where you become limited by what you can produce?
We're really limited. Our limitation is the working capital. We're using because we own the proprietary method, we've been able, and one of the design criteria when we made our beer was that we could make it on a traditional brewing, at a traditional brewery. And so we haven't had to invest in our own brewing assets. We can go out and co-pack. And so that gives us a lot more flexibility than our competitors, at least in the non-alcoholic craft beer space.
Awesome.
Just a comment, this is really good, and I like beer, and I now like this beer. So, good job.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Who else has a question? I think that should just end it with that one. Just like, I like beer, and this is good beer.
There's my commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So the question I'll throw out then is, as you're expanding through these different markets, is there a point in time where you decide you're going to take this in-house and build your own setup and structure for operations, or do you continue to co-pack?
I think co-packing is our future. I think we do have some, to speak to the Dragon's Den thing, we don't have an equity investment from the Dragons, but we have a working relationship with them. So we're looking to brew in the States at a low-cost brewery, and that'll be our strategy going forward, and not having to use capital to build our own brewery.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Any last questions? I think everybody just wants to jump right into it. Angelo, you guys can have that conversation. All right, have one question.
How much per can?
The retail price at the LCBO is going to be $1.75 a can.
Oh man, a buck of beer, man.
It's more expensive to make non-alcoholic beer than alcoholic beer. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. All right, give him a hand. Give him a hand. All right, so we've come to the end. We've had 3 great pitches. I thank you guys all for coming out tonight. A big round for our advisors. Thank you. For all of our sponsors who helped get us here, thank you very much. And for the team, thank you very much for all your help, guys, at OPN. You guys were awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. And stay tuned for the next event that we have coming up. We have our next showcase big event, which will be in North York. The city of Toronto, unfortunately, is under repairs, so we won't be able to run it there. So we'll be in North York, and we will post a date. I believe it's November 16th, I think, but I'll double check. It is on the web. I should know this. But regardless, thank you very much, guys, for coming out. Have a partake. Enjoy your night, and we'll see you guys soon.